Kia ora, an active band of showers and thunderstorms making their way up the South Island as we head through this afternoon, and they would like to reach up towards places like Wellington and around the coast in towards Wairarapa as we head through the afternoon. It's also the marker of the return of some cooler air coming up from the southwest, which I think we'll notice really as we go through the night time tonight, a much cooler, less humid feel to the weather. As we head in towards the weekend, for many parts of the North Island, it's a dry and settled story, and even on the South Island, there's plenty of dry and sunny weather in store. But you can see as we head towards the night tonight, we've still got a few showers around the likes of Wairarapa, and with the southwesterly winds, those areas that are exposed towards the south and the west will catch some showers that will last through the night for places like Southland and Fiordland. On the North Island, though, through the night time, we'll find that the showers clear away, and for many spots it's a dry, clear night and a little bit cooler, less humid than it has been. Down south, again, there's plenty of dry weather for Nelson, the Tasman region, round the coast to Marlborough and down that eastern side as well. On the western coast, more cloud and still a few showers through the night time, more so though down through Stewart Island around the coast of Southland. In terms of our temperatures though through the night, it is a real change to what we've been seeing through most of the week. We've lost that real high humidity air from the north, and in its place some cooler, fresher feeling air for the night times, meaning our nighttime lows are back to around about 9 or 10 degrees Celsius across the South Island, and even up north a much more bearable 12 degrees Celsius for Wellington as we head in towards the early hours of Saturday morning. For the North Island, though, we are looking at generally a dry, fine and settled story for most of us as we head through the daytime on Saturday. And for the South Island, there's still plenty of dry weather as well. There will be some showers, particularly down in the far south, and they'll spread up through Otago and South Canterbury by the end of the day. But if you're in Christchurch northwards, it's a dry, fine looking Saturday, a touch more cloud later on perhaps. Let's take a look at the North Island. We start off with areas of cloud, perhaps through Taranaki and up in towards the ranges of Whanganui. But for most of us, it's a dry, fine and settled story. We will have a little bit more of that southwesterly, which will keep areas of cloud pushing around the western coast on towards the western facing parts of Northland and Auckland. But even here, I think, other than perhaps an odd shower, it's really a very dry story through there. A touch more cloud through the afternoon through parts of Hawke's Bay and up in towards Tairafti. But again, most spots staying dry as we head through daytime. If we see any showers, I think they'll be about the tops of the ranges. So for most of us, it's a dry and fairly settled looking Saturday. Temperature-wise, a little bit cooler than we have been seeing, particularly around these eastern areas. Daytime highs around about 23, 24 degrees Celsius for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. But for Wellington, 22 degrees Celsius and up in towards places like the Bay of Plenty. Daytime highs back to 26 degrees, so not a bad looking story there. And overnight temperatures, again, fairly reasonable as we head through towards the early hours of Sunday. It has been an incredibly dry start to the year though, especially around these western parts of the country. So for places like Waikato and Taranaki, really very little rainfall we've seen through February. Many spots less than 10 millimetres. And with that in mind, there are still plenty of areas with a moderate, even higher fire risk as we head through and towards the weekend. So although we have got a bit of rainfall coming through today, some showers making their way up the country, it's still relatively dry. So do keep that in mind for your weekend activities. It's a similar story down on the South Island, although we're coming to the end of February. It's been pretty dry through some of those areas, and we have got parts, particularly through Canterbury and Otago, where the fire risk is high or even very high. So even activities like cutting the grass could cause a spark. So do keep that fire risk in mind as you're planning your activities through the weekend. And don't forget this website, checkitsallright.nz, a great way of finding the fire risk in your area. For the South Island on Saturday, many of us start the day dry and fine. Nelson, Marlborough, down through Canterbury looking pretty decent first thing. A touch more cloud on that western coast could bring an isolated shower. But as our winds turn a little bit more southwesterly, we'll find the showers become more offshore than anything else. In the far southern areas, through Fiordland and Southland, we'll keep hold of that southwesterly wind, which will bring those showers on towards us as well. And by the end of the day, they'll make their way northwards through and towards Otago and perhaps the far southern parts of Canterbury. Far northern areas, so just a touch more cloud later in the day. But again, most spots I think staying dry, particularly for those areas north of, say, Timaru. As we go through the daytime, highs back to around about 21 degrees Celsius for Christchurch. It's not as high as it has been through the week, but it's definitely warmer than it has been on Friday. And I think up in the north there, we're still looking at daytime highs around about 23 or 24 degrees Celsius. As we head in towards the rest of the weekend, high pressure builds across from the west, which I think for many parts of the North Island and the western side of the South Island gives plenty of dry weather. A bit of an onshore feed of air will keep more cloud and perhaps a few spots of rain or showers through parts of Canterbury and Marlborough, perhaps even in towards parts of Hawke's Bay and the Wairarapa. But for many spots on Sunday, there's still plenty of dry weather, and we've lost that humid air as we've gone through the night time. So Saturday night into Sunday, much more bearable and some pleasant nights sleeping for most of us as well. That's it from me. Have a great weekend.